So I'm still kind of jonesing from my vacation in Saint Augustine, where we got to rent a home right on the marsh. My God, it's beautiful. I don't really understand it. It's like your backyard just goes straight into the marsh, which is God knows how many acres of, it's not exactly swamp, but there are alligators in there and all kinds of things. It looks like a lot of grass, but it's water. It's gorgeous. The sunsets back there are so beautiful. We had a beehive in the wall of the place we were staying in, which looked very active. So we were trying to stay away from that. Anyway, the way we were facing, we did not see a really beautiful sunset, but we saw a beautiful sunrise, which is what I'm painting here. I'm painting with watercolor, but I am using white gouache. So of course I started with the sky. It's nice that you can mix that pale pink and orange together, and it doesn't really affect the blue that's above it. Then I add a little yellow in there. A painting like this, the difficulty for most people is all the different greens. You have to make it look like your sky recedes way back, as does the landscaping. So the painting up front most of the time has to be darker than what is behind it. So in other words, the trees in the back, although there is a dark band there, they will be lighter than the big tree that is up front. As things dry, I enhance them a little bit more because you see that it fades quite a bit when it dries. And go back and forth, deciding how much color I want in it. It doesn't have to dry completely in most places, just mostly. So I get it to fairly dry. Now here's the front tree. And you see I'm using a dark green, adding a little bit of red to the green to help darken it. Traditionally, if I wanted to make that water reflection, I could have left that area without any color in it at all. Just left the paper white, but this paper is a kind of a off light burnt umber or light burnt sienna. You can't really see it because I have very bright light shining on it. But in order to make the water look white, I had to put white down. And there's yet another colored tree on this side, the right side. This is right in the backyard, right on the other side of the fence, which scared me because that's the fence that was keeping my dogs in. And they told us, oh, it's very secure, your dog can't get through it, but if anybody goes into the marsh, they could drown or be killed. And I was terrified my dogs would push through this little crappy fence in the backyard. So I wouldn't let them out there unless I was sitting right there with them. I'd like to paint this painting in a very large oil painting or acrylic. Once again, in order to have this fence show up, I have to put the white down first and let it dry, and then paint the white, the tan color that the fence was. So there's like a little wire that holds this fence together. Now, while the white is just slightly damp, I add a little bit of the brown in there. And then later I'll go over it with a little tan. So for the most part, I've progressed from the lighter to the darker, and then to the darkest, except for where I added white to then go in and alter my painting and put the fence in and the water. So that's the majority of the painting there, and then a little editing. Sorry, my hand's in the way. More of a dry brush technique here. Just getting a little differentiation. Like I said, each yellow has to be a little different. The ones up close will show more, or each green has to be a little different. The ones up front will show more yellow. There's something glistening in the water here. That's about it. You can only do so much on a painting that is so tiny, but I'm happy with that. It's a good rendition of what I saw in my backyard when I was on vacation, and it was wonderful.